Hello everyone, I'm Atul Dahale and welcome to my Incredible Chess channel. In the first round of Qatar Masters tournament, our world number one Magnus Carlsen played an amazing game. He was paired against one young Indian. His name is Srihari L R. This game is a very dynamic game, I will say. Magnus Carlsen decided to sacrifice some material. I'll not reveal each and everything right now in the first minute only. So I hope that you will enjoy this game the way I enjoyed and you will definitely like this video. If you are new here, I just request you to subscribe to my channel because I am going to come up with very interesting videos every single day for you from today onwards. That's my promise for you, and I hope that you will enjoy the chess content on this channel. So let's begin. In this game, Carlsen, playing from the white side, decided to play c4. His opponent opted for c6 move, and now Magnus decided to play d4. The game proceeded with d5, knight to f3, knight f6. This is a normal position, and here knight c3 is a very common move. After that, d captures c4 and then e4, bishop f5, then e3, e6, bishop c4, and so on. The Slav defense might be proceeded, but instead of going for these usual lines, Magnus decided to play a tricky move, that is g3. Well, he is asking his opponent to capture on c4, and most probably after that I think he's going to ignore the c4 pawn and going to play bishop g2 followed by castle, and that seems to be an interesting option in the opening. Well, his opponent was not interested to capture the c4 pawn. He decided to play bishop f5. Another option in this position which I would like to tell you is that e6. Yes, e6 is a very interesting option, and the position might lead to Catalan opening, close Catalan opening. But here he decided to play bishop f5. Okay, then knight c3 came on the board, and now e6. Well, in the Catalan we know this thing that the bishop is usually on c8, and black finds it difficult to get the bishop out in the game. But now the bishop is already out of the pawn chain and black is kind of comfortable. But there is some problem for this bishop which is 18, and Magnus Carlsen spotted that thing and he played the move knight h4. He is directly going for the bishop on f5. Well, here black decided to capture on c4, and now knight captures f5, e captures f5. Well, this is a normal position. I will not say like black is losing or something like that. Okay, his pawn is doubled on the f file, but it is not that much harmful. Black will definitely get some play with bishop d6, knight d7. Maybe the knight will be jumping on e4 square after queen e7. That is a usual plan of action in this position. But the question for white here is like where to develop the light square bishop. There are two options. One is, of course, you can play bishop g2, or you can play e3 followed by bishop captures c4. At least you can threaten like that. And here if you play b5, although in the game e3 was played and black did not save the pawn on c4 because there are some obvious reasons. Here white can just continue with his development with bishop to g2, and now you need to take care of the c6 pawn. At some point I know this thing that knight d5 will be coming, but white doesn't need to worry about this thing. White can just castle and then try to play a4 and e4 in the position, and definitely white will get some compensation for the sacrificed pawn. So here maybe Srihari doesn't want to get into kind of position where he needs to defend. That's why he plays simple chess. He develops his piece on d6 square. Now Magnus Carlsen captures the pawn on c4, then castle, and now in order to attack the pawn on f5 he plays queen to f3. Well, that's a interesting move, just going for the pawn. Srihari decides to support the pawn on g6, and now he plays h3 move. Well, he is waiting in the position. He is not going for the castle. Why is he doing this thing? Well, the answer is maybe in future he wants to play the move that is like g4 and try to open up the king side here and try to pressurize black's king by attacking the pawn on h7. We'll see what happened. Here black plays in the center of the board, which is very common, queen e7. As I mentioned earlier, knight might be going to e4 square to consolidate in the center of the board. Okay, so here Magnus understands that he cannot really go for g4 or those kind of moves right now in this position. He castles in this case. Okay, and one more thing I would like to tell you that when the queen is on e7 square, the pawn on e3 is little bit pinned, you can say, and if you try to play g4 in this position, then f4 is an interesting option. Well, that is one of the options, but he castles in this position, and now black plays h5 move. Well, I think h5 was a critical mistake in the position because it was not needed. First of all, Black should have gone for some developing move, like knight d7 was a very interesting option in this position, going for rook a e8 on the next move and trying to control everything in the center of the board. And once you get the knight, the other knight will also be jumping to e4 square, then you can get this knight on d7 square to f6 square, and then black will be having a very solid position, I will say. But instead of this, he plays h5, which is a very tempting move, I will say. And now here Magnus says like, okay, fine, you are playing on the one side of the board, I will try to break in the center of the board. So first of all, he gets the rook on e1 square with the idea of playing e4 in future. Black spots that thing and black plays knight to e4, but now Magnus finds a very nice way to exploit the king side weaknesses. He plays g4 move in this position, going for f5 or h5 pawn, you can say. Here Srihari captures on g4, h captures g4, and now he plays bishop b4, hoping that white cannot capture on e4 because the rook will be hanging on e1 square. And also there is a threat is there that knight captures c3, b captures c3, and followed by bishop captures c3. The rook on e1 and the rook on e1 will be under attack. So he might have thought that Magnus will never go for a move like g captures f5, because which looks very impossible in this position. The reason is, now if you capture knight c3, b captures c3, bishop captures c3, both the rooks are under attack, and white cannot really save the piece here because bishop cannot come in between. That is a free piece. You cannot play bishop a3, the queen will just capture and it will be a big trouble. But now the move which Magnus Carlsen had prepared comes into the center. You can pause the video and think about this position, because this was a move which was actually very critical, and the subsequent continuation was also very interesting. So here Magnus decides to play g4. I hope that you thought about the move. And the thing is that if you capture any of the rook, let's suppose you capture the rook on a1, then the first move comes to the mind is queen captures g6. Why? Because the pawn on f7 cannot capture. The bishop on c4 will be doing an amazing job of pinning that pawn. Now the king needs to go to h8 square, and now first of all we will save the queen by queen h6, king g8, and the checkmate is incoming. You can play f6 attacking the queen. If you move the queen anywhere, then queen g7 is checkmate, and if you decides to give up the queen, then of course this will not lead to more moves. I will say black will be checkmated very soon. Even if you play knight d7, I think queen g5 check, king will come on g8 h8 square, and king g2 followed by rook to h1 is going to be a checkmate very soon. So I think the game will be over like that. So the thing is that you cannot really capture the rook, not even on e1. The same continuation will be happening. So Srihari decides to support the pawn on g6 by playing king g7. What an incredible move, right? Queen g4. Now here Magnus still doesn't slow down. He says, I have said A, I'm going to say B. And that is the general rule in chess. When you start attacking, you have to continue your attack. You cannot slow down. And here in this position, Carlsen cannot really slow down. He's playing in the style of romantic era of chess, you can say, where players used to sacrifice their material and they were very hungry to checkmate their opponent's king. That thing happened in this game also. He goes for e4, opening up this bishop on c1 now. It will be coming in the game. So here Srihari decides to capture the rook on a1. Now bishop to g5, attacking the queen. And now here he plays queen to b4, attacking the rook on e1. But one thing is there, if you play f6 kind of a move, then what to do? The bishop will be under attack. If you move the bishop, then black might save his game. But there is a very good move. Can you find it? You can pause the video and think about the position. This is a very interesting position, I will say. Here a checkmate, or you can say the winning position, will be achieved by the move bishop h6 check. If you capture here, then queen captures g6 is a simple checkmate. And if you go behind on h8 square, then there are several ways to win the position. This is a completely winning position, but the easiest way seems to be capturing on g6 with the pawn and then going for g7. One thing is there, if you capture the pawn on g6 with the queen, then there might be a little bit trouble, because now knight d7 will come. The idea is to play rook g8. The queen will be under attack, it will be pinned, and you will lose the queen. Of course you will save the queen, maybe capturing on f8, then rook captures f8, and okay, it might go on. But I will say, like, why to risk all these things? Just capture the pawn and then g7 is coming, and I think black is going to lose the game very soon. Okay, fair enough. Another option is also there that you can capture on f8 also, but that is just winning position, I will say. But in the game, queen b4 was played, attacking the rook on e1. So Carlsen says, okay, I'll just capture your bishop, no worries for me. And here, first of all, he gives a check, my bad, f6 check, king g8, and now he captures the bishop on a1. Some people who get very excited might go for queen h4, thinking that now queen h6 and queen g7 is a checkmate in the position. But the problem is that now queen e1 check comes. If you play king to g2, then bishop captures d4 is a very good move, because white is still one move less in the position. He cannot go for queen h6 thinking that queen g7 is going to be a checkmate. The problem will be queen f2 check, and here white needs to be careful, because if he comes here, then it's a checkmate. If you come here, then maybe several checks will be coming. If you go further, then bishop f2 is also going to be a checkmate. So you have to go back, and I think black will not be able to checkmate, but white will not be able to win also. So you should not hurry in chess, you should just play simple chess. So he captures on a1. Here knight d7 was played, and now he plays queen to h3. The idea is very simple. He wants to go for h6 and queen g7 check and mate. The last try can be to play rook to e8, but then we can play queen h6. If you play queen to f8 in this position, then can you spot the move? I hope you get it. The move is, again, the bishop will be coming very handy in this position. You can just capture on g6 with a check. King will come on h8 square, and now you can capture on f7. That is like seems to be a very easy option for me. Or there is a very crazy move in this position, which actually I did not spot when I was looking at the game earlier. The move here is surprising, king g2. Yes, you can sacrifice the queen here in this position. If black captures the queen, then rook h1, sorry, rook h1 is a check and mate. Even if you play queen h6, still it's a checkmate, because the rook will be giving a check. The bishop on c4 is controlling the g8 square. The pawn on f6 is controlling the g7 square, and the king is completely blocked in the position. This amazing finish, I will say. Well, his opponent did not play till the end. He decided to respect his opponent. He resigned in this previous position only when queen h3 was played. But if this checkmate would have happened on the board, it would have been very, very great. So I hope that you enjoyed this game and this video also. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and we'll be meeting very soon tomorrow with a new video. Till that moment, take care and love you all. Thank you.